Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we're going to be continuing with our series, Dumbfounding Definitions, Dizzying Distinctions, and Diabolical Doctrines, a series sorting through some of the jargon of philosophy. In this video, we're going to be looking at what is the package deal fallacy. So, often there are two things that are always seen together. These might be certain objects or phenomena that always occur one after another. The package deal fallacy occurs when one assumes that simply because two things seem to always appear in conjunction, that they must appear that way, or that one causes the other. Note that sometimes there is actually a causal link between the two things. However, their constant conjunction alone is insufficient to prove that one causes the other, or that one cannot exist without the other. For example, every time I see my neighbor, they are walking their dog. This does not mean that my neighbor never goes anywhere without their dog. Simply because I've never seen them apart does not prove that they are a package deal. So, the problem with the package deal fallacy is that there may be other explanations for the constant conjunction of two events. Perhaps they both have the same cause. Every time it gets above 90 degrees for a few weeks, they send all the students on a 3-month break. This doesn't mean that every time it gets hot, kids in school are going to get an extra summer vacation, nor does it mean that every summer vacation must be hot, but rather that it getting hotter and summer vacation have both the same cause, it becoming summer. But that does not mean that simply because you have only observed those two events happening in conjunction that they are in some way a package deal. It could get hot and it be the middle of spring. It could be that we have a really cold summer and it never gets above 90 degrees. Just because you've only always observed those two things together doesn't mean that they are required as a package deal. The package deal fallacy is in many ways a combination of the correlation doesn't imply causation fallacy and the problem of induction. Simply because there's a relationship between two events, it doesn't mean that those events cause each other, correlation and causation. And it doesn't mean that such a relationship will always hold in the future. That's the problem of induction. The past doesn't always resemble the future. For example, just because every time you've seen your new coworker, their arm has been in a cast, it doesn't mean that their arm will always be in a cast in the future, that the cast is part of their arm, or that their arm will always require a cast. Just because you've always seen those two things together, your new coworker and that cast around their arm, it doesn't mean that they are a package deal. Here are some more examples. Every time I see John, he is on the arm of Leslie, therefore they are inseparable. Just because you always see them together doesn't mean that they never spend any time apart. Every time I hear a French horn, it is part of a group with other brass instruments, therefore the French horn requires other brass instruments to be played. Clearly fallacious. And the only time I feel a sense of the divine is in my church. Therefore, no one will ever feel the divine anywhere else. All other religions are wrong because the divine is only in my church. Clearly problematic. What do you think? What are other examples of the package deal fallacy that you have heard recently? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Watch this video and more here at Carneades.org and stay skeptical, everybody.